Hi, Chris G4NAB again. Today I'd like to discuss how Svxlink works in general to dispel any misconceptions and to give users in range of the existing nodes confidence in using them to communicate further afield. Firstly, a bit about Svxlink and its history. Tobias Bloomberg SM0SVX first designed the application as a Linux version of Echolink around 2003, but it has since progressed significantly into the modular repeater controller that we have today. The package has three main parts, first being the repeater stroke simplex controller, secondly being a remote transceiver controller, and finally the reflector controller that provides the centerpiece over permitting it to be used as a host for multiple repeaters and nodes. Obviously you only need one reflector per system. During its early development, the reflector controller provided an intermediate connectivity between all of the connected nodes, making it a super repeater. Each node connected had to be granted access by the reflector manager by giving the distant nodes the same password. This meant that every transmission made on one node was broadcast over the whole network. It's made for a busy network and not everybody wanted to hear every transmission. This is what became known as Protocol 1. The next development made significant changes to how the nodes connected to the host reflector, and this became Protocol 2. Whilst every one of the nodes had a permanent but passive connection to the reflector, it had an individual password. No transmissions pass from one node to another unless they had a common path, which became the FM talk group. It seemed reasonable to use an existing talk group system, one that had been devised using the mobile country code and already in use with the Brandmeister and IPSC2 talk group networks. So we adopted that standard for use as talk groups for the Svxlink system. Naturally, the node system operator would have control over when and how his node would become activated. The more talk groups placed in a monitoring list increased the chances of remote activation. So this opens up each of the nodes for more activity. Users can dial out using the sequence of 9-1 plus the destination talk group plus hash or # to activate an outbound path to the reflector. The second and subsequent transmissions open the path to other nodes monitoring the same talk group. A little pause after the second transmission should be allowed in case the distant nodes are already active and not using a live talk group. And that has happened. We can forget now that Svxlink We can't forget now that Svxlink was created as a Linux Echolink package, and it is still the case, but now forms a module within the Svxlink application, along with a QSO recorder, a METAR information module, a message module, and a propagation monitor module. Svxlink has not stopped still as Tobias and other developments are advancing the capabilities still further. The latest version 25 takes us into Protocol 3 of the SVX reflector, whereby nodes connect, but the system operator completes an X509 certificate to connect to its known reflector. Fortunately, despite these innovations, the logic configuration of a repeater using this version can still connect to a Protocol 2 SVX reflector, which makes it an easy network to join, but takes advantage of the new logic contained in the new version. More about that in a moment. As it stands, the two UK portals are both Protocol 2 and are interconnected via the system of talk groups in place. The Yorkshire Net portal has a small group of nodes and repeaters based around the 3 counties. That is obviously Yorkshire, West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire and East Yorkshire. And there are some repeaters on the UK portal and nodes not just in the UK, but they include South Africa, Portugal, the Netherlands, Belgium and further into Europe, such as Sweden. As the Svxlink project is open source, other developers have made some interesting adaptations to the software, including the use of USRP logic, Tetra, DV switch, making for future integratable changes. So with this in mind, I and my colleagues in Yorkshire, as Lee M0YDG and Josh M0DIT, we've successfully connected interlinks to other existing All-Star Link nodes and networks, with a view to enlivening the availability. And activity, of course, is very, very active. To distinguish between talk groups and these other links, we've chosen to retain their All-Star Link node numbers as talk groups, but they are accessed in exactly the same way, with 9.1 before and hash after, or # if you prefer, to shape the connection. For example, if you wish to connect to the USA East Coast that's the All-Star reflector, you can dial 919050 # or hash by DTMF on your local node or repeater. Again, listen for activity after a second push before making a call. You will need a pause on the simplex node to dial 910 hash to disconnect from a live link, but at any time on a repeater, as these links can be very busy. Let's look at my own node's dashboard. This is a simplex node on VHF, active in my district in Northumberland, and you can see from it that it has a system of talk groups. Excuse me just a moment while I resize the window. You can see from the information at the top, it gives the call sign, and we can display various things on it in a moment. But it has active logic, simplex logic obviously, and reflector logic, and these two are linked together, so it will link the simplex aspect of it to the reflector when we select a talk group. Last activity was connected to the OARC All-Star Link node, and that has a talk group number of 47920, which is its All-Star Link node number as well. But this also connects to DMR talk group 2348479 on Brandmeister. So this is one of the few links that links from FM through to digital mobile radio. Alongside here we've got a parrot facility. This is whereby you can actually check your own audio by dialing on your DTMF pad 1 hash as you press the PTT. Likewise, you have Echo Link, that is accessible with 2 hash, and then you dial the further Echo Link node number followed by a hash and # to get the connection to the next node. Also, we have here meta information. What we'll do, we'll just give this a little test. On my handheld here, I'm going to connect to my digital node, and I'm going to call the meta information using 5 #.
Activating meta information. Newcastle Airport. Met report time 0950. Wind 030 degree. At 14 knots. Visibility more than 10 kilometers. Clouds. Broken 3000 feet. Temperature 15 degrees. Dew point 8 degrees. QNH 1022 hectopascals. Newcastle Airport.
And to disconnect from the module, send a # hash.
Deactivating METAR information.
I'll go back to the Echolink module, 2 hash.
Activating Echolink.
And then we want to connect to the Echolink test server. 9999 hash.
Connecting to conference Ecotest. Connected.
Welcome to the Echolink test server. This server records your transmissions and plays them back to help you adjust your transmitted and received audio. Please feel free to connect as often as you like.
Conference Ecotest. Disconnected. Deactivating Echolink.
I sent 2 hashes, that's 2 £, one to disconnect from the conference and one to disconnect from Echolink. Now we do the same thing with the test server, my own Parrot test server. That's 1 hash.
Activating Parrot.
This is G4NAB, just testing.
This is G4NAB, just testing.
Deactivating Parrot.
So that's the Parrot. Let's see if we can find some activity elsewhere. At the moment, I do see some information available, but that is a busy one, so we'll not do that straight away. I was going to connect to the Northwest All-Star group, and that on this system is talk group 53573. But it's very busy, and as I have a simplex node, it's difficult to find a gap to disconnect afterwards, so we'll hold off that for the moment. Let's just show you some other aspects of the system that will give you an indication of what else can be found in relation to talk groups. Let's go to this side here. This is the portal dashboard, which gives you an indication of the nodes currently connected to the UK portal. You may in fact have to scroll up and down because there are 30 or so nodes connected, and as you can see, the ones that are busy are become highlighted and with a blue line. If that becomes a little bit more difficult to look at, then we'll look at them in block form, which is looking at the actual groups, and we can actually see the talk groups listed here. Go back to the dashboard and look at the formation of the nodes in block form. As you can see, Northwest All-Star Group is highlighted in with the blue line, so that one is active presently. So that's the current state of information at the moment on there. So let's go to
Golf 4 November Alpha Bravo.
that's my node just identifying itself. Let's go to the true portal, which is where I do all my administration. Now this is where things get a little bit more complicated, but you can see here that each of the nodes has a list of talk groups alongside it. What the sysop or system operator has chosen to monitor in case of activity. As you can see, the Northwest All-Star Group is live at the moment and is operating, and the only other person that's actually listening to it at the moment is Mike 6 Romeo Whiskey Whiskey on his own personal node, and he has chosen to monitor a large number of talk groups, not all of which are active. We got to my line here. If I just, oh, there we go. That's my Simplex node operates on 145.2.3.75 with an access tone of 118.8. Right, bear with me just a minute. Let's go back. There's what we were looking for. We can also have a look at individual station information if you wanted by clicking on them and highlighting them. But the talk groups for example, let's have a look at the East Coast reflector. Is talk group 9050. And going on down the list, ham radio 2.0, which is a bridge to All-Star link node 43136. For those who follow YouTube and ham radio 2.0, Jason KC5HWB is a good host for lots of information on ham radio equipment and activity, and he's well worth a listen. But he has his own network, which is interesting to follow. Of course, at this time of day, it's currently 20 past 11 here in the morning, so they're still in bed, so we'll leave them alone. But other things, we've got to talk groups through to the North Pennines. We have groups down in the East Midlands with a number of repeaters. We've got GB3MH, which is the further south that we go at the moment, which is a repeater close to Gatwick Airport. A group of repeaters in the Midlands, as I say, at Leamington Spa, one in Banbury in Oxfordshire, and a group of nodes and repeaters in the Luton area, and a repeater at Wallsend, close to Newcastle, and a node down in Slough in Berkshire. And we have a number of others. There's a talk group here in Wyoming which goes to a place called Jackson's Hole in Wyoming, and that has a couple of repeaters and nodes on talk group 3156. They are using a DMR talk group number as it happens, and they are independent. And we have a newly arrived station in Greece, SV1UY, which is Dimitri, and he has set up our small hotspot, so he's connected himself. And right down the very bottom of the list, we have a repeater in Johannesburg, a ZS6 TJ. We have a group of users in South Africa, but they're all on holiday at the moment, it seems, and they are not online. Small group of Swedish stations, but they have a dual reflector. They can actually link into the Swedish network from their side as well. Rockham, that's Rochester, New Hampshire. New York as a completely independent node. PD2 BVT, it's a station in the Netherlands. And we've got, where is he? He's not on at the moment. There was a station in Belgium yesterday. He appears to just turn his off for the duration. So people can come and go as they wish, connect when they want, as long as they have the password to access the reflector. It's no problem. And finally, a new kid on the block. This is an app for Android smartphones called Latry. It's a tiny Svxlink client, and it's produced by a station in Romania, which is a very nice app. And you can register for this. You send me an email. I'll send you back the call sign that you need to use, the details on how to connect it to the SVX reflector, and a password to put into the app. And then you can select a talk group into which you can collect and make contacts. For those people who aren't familiar with the talk groups, we go back to our other page. Bear with me just a moment. The dashboard. At the top of the dashboard we have downloads. You click on downloads and you click on the help sheet, and that will download to your PC or device the means to tap in the talk groups that you need to use. You don't need the 9.1 and the hash for the Latry app, but what will happen is that if I can find my phone, we'll go to the portal and I shall turn on my Latry app. What I'm going to do, I'm going to connect to 235, which is the national group, and you'll see come up. Let's make this just a little bit bigger so you can see where we are at. We've got G4NAB-T is now connected, and I'm ready to access talk group 235. Let me just change that so I disappear off of the screen for the moment. I'm going to go to the one that we know is busy to see what was coming out on it. 53573 connect, and we go down to where there was activity. There's currently no activity at the moment, so let's make some activity.
Golf 4 November.
This is G4NAB, Golf 4 November Alpha Bravo, as a quick test call. G4NAB. Unusually, nobody has replied. Normally I would expect to hear somebody, but not at this case. Oh well, you win some, you lose some. So if anybody wants to try the Latry app, they have to send me an email. I'll send them back the information that they require. The course name will be -T, so we know you're using the app, and it's also a means by which we can, if there are any problems, we can quickly deal with them. Not to say we cut you off, it's just that occasionally if you forget to disconnect or forget to unpress the PTT, we can actually momentarily disconnect you while you sort it out. And pocket dialing is not an unknown factor in this. So that's been a brief overview. If you need more information, you can always go to my qrz.com page and pull up all the links, or you can go directly to my website g4nab.co.uk to get any information you need. You can always send me an email. The address is also available. So that's been my quick explanation of Svxlink, and I hope that is of use to most people. Bye for now.